This vocabulary list is a fun one about cities, states, and countries that we will be using for an activity in class. So most states are signed with an abbreviation, usually of 4 letters or 2 letters. States with short names are sometimes just fingerspelled, like Ohio. And some states have signs. So we will learn a few of the states that have signs in this list, along with some other country and city names. All right, you ready? Here's the sign for country. On your non-dominant hand, put your, actually, it doesn't really matter if your hand is in a fist or flat or whatever. The idea is that you're showing your elbow. With your dominant hand, you want a flat hand shape, and you just do little circles here. You're going to relax your elbow so it happens around your waist. If you may also see a Y hand shape here, they're both correct. United States is a U. You do a little circle and drop it to an S. United States. America is 2 5 hand shapes. Interlock your fingers, put your palms toward you, and then you do little circles. Some countries, in fact, a lot of them, have new signs. So there used to be an old way that we would sign it, and then now there's a new sign for it. The reason for that is because Americans, deaf Americans, have adopted the sign that the country uses for themselves. Instead of us giving them a name, we call them now what they call themselves. So an example of this kind of in English, if you will, is that if you go to Rome, everybody in Rome will tell you that they are from Roma. That's how you say it in Italian. For some reason, we just call it Rome in America, but they call it Roma. So this is kind of the equivalent of us starting to call it Roma. Okay, so the sign for Australia can be signed 2 different ways. The older one is a B hand shape, and you start with your palm to you, flip it up, and hit your head. It is from the hats, like an Australian, hat, and I can't remember what it's called. The other sign for Australia is 2 8 hand shapes, and it starts at your waist, and then you throw it out. So you pick it up and throw it out. Australia. The sign for Holland is like a Dutch hat. The sign for Ireland is potato. So it's an S hand shape on your non-dominant hand, a bent V on your dominant hand, and it's like poking a potato with a fork, right? So Ireland. Germany can be signed 2 ways. The old way is 2 5 hand shapes, a thumb in your palm, doesn't matter which hand is which, dominant versus non-dominant, and then you wiggle your fingers. That's Germany. The new sign is a 1 hand shape with your palm facing out, and you tap it against your forehead. Germany. Sweden is signed with an S hand shape on your non-dominant hand with your palm facing down. Your dominant hand is a 5, and you're going to pick up and end in a squished O hand shape, repeated. Okay, so Sweden. The old sign for Russia is 2 5 hand shapes at your waist. The new sign is a 1 hand shape along your mouth, and then, or like your lips, and then like flicked. So Russia. Canada is an A hand shape. And you put your palm on your chest, your pec, and hit it back and forth a little bit. If you're right-handed, it'll be on your right side. If you're left-handed, it'll be on your left side. That's Canada. Mexico, the old sign for Mexico is 2 X hand shapes. And with your dominant hand, you touch your shoulder, and then you come and meet your other hand. Mexico. The reason, I think one of the big reasons that one changed is because it's also the sign for Spain, which is obviously not the same thing. So now Mexico is signed the way Mexicans sign it, which is with a V hand shape. near your like eyebrows, palm facing down, and you come in and out, in and out. And it's related to a sombrero, Mexico. The next sign we're going to learn is the sign for state. Now, this is a legal boundary in the United States. A state of mind is not the same thing. A state of being is not the same thing. So it's not signed this way. This is a United States state. You want a flat hand on your non-dominant hand, an S hand shape on your dominant hand. You're going to put your fist on this part of your hand and then on this part. All right. So you start up top and come down. Okay. State. Now we're going to sign a few states. So Washington is a W, and you put your palm facing you at first, or maybe sideways. Probably you. I think that's, yeah. And then you kind of let it fall down a little bit. Washington. Oregon is signed the same way with an O. I have seen it signed Oregon. That's also the sign for Ontario. So having lived very close to Oregon, I lived in Washington across the river. This is how people in Oregon sign it. So that's what I go with. California. So you want an I love you hand shape, touch your ear, dominant hand. And then as you, actually you can do it a few different ways. So as you come down, you close into a Y hand shape like that. California, or you can just not close your finger like that. And I've also seen California. Hawaii is an H hand shape, but it ends up looking like a U. Palm facing you, and you start kind of at the top of your head and do a circle. It comes from the sign for beautiful, so it's that same idea, only with an H for Hawaii. Alaska starts with an A hand shape, and it starts maybe above your eyebrow, maybe middle of your forehead, I don't know. And then you come around your face and open your hand to sort of an open C hand shape. Not official C, but just kind of loose C. Alaska. That comes from the like fur around the coats that you might imagine in Alaska. Idaho is also signed potato. So if someone tells you that they're going on vacation to potato, you have to ask, well, you mean Ireland or Idaho? All right, Colorado can be signed two ways. You want a horizon on your non-dominant hand. And then on your dominant hand, you're going to do a C hand shape for Colorado and outline mountains. All right, so and relax your shoulders for that. It'll happen down here. So Colorado. My favorite way to sign it, being from Colorado, is with a 5 hand shape, and you start near your chin. You don't touch it necessarily, and you wiggle back and forth, and then you sign D-O. Because it's a play on the word Colorado, it's color D-O. And I don't know where the A goes, but that's how people sign it here. Color D-O, so Colorado or Colorado. I always say I'm from, because I think it's adorable. All right, New York. You want a flat hand shape on your non-dominant hand, so your palm facing up. Your dominant hand is a Y hand shape, and then you're going to put palms together, okay, and back and forth with your dominant hand. That's New York. Texas is an X hand shape, and you're basically going to like draw an outline of a 7. You go across and down, okay, so with an X hand shape, and your wrist drops at the end. Texas. Chicago is actually the very same movement. It follows that same 7 sort of shape, only with a C, so Chicago. Denver can be signed 2 ways. Both of them are with a D. You can either do a D with a little up and down motion, or you can do a D with a back and forth motion. Now make sure it doesn't look like where. Where is a closed, it's a number 1 hand shape. It's not open like a D, it's number 1, and your wrist goes back and forth. Denver, the movement comes from your elbow, your wrist isn't moving. So Denver, or Denver. Los Angeles is pretty easy. It's just LA. Phoenix is an X handshake, shaken back and forth. San Francisco is just SF. Seattle is an S shaken back and forth, just like Phoenix was, or Denver. All right, the last sign on this list is a combination. It's a phrase, I guess. And what we're going to do is we're going to assign finish and then touch. Finish touch is an ASL phrase that means I've been there. Well, maybe not I've, but been there. So if you want to say you have been to Seattle, you would sign finish touch Seattle. All right, so finish touch. So you want an S hand shape on your non-dominant hand, that 25Y birthday, what's up, excited hand shape on your dominant hand. And then you just touch. You just touch the top of your hand. So let's do that again. All right, so if you want to say I've been to Seattle, you say, or you could say, and that is our fun vocabulary list for our fun activity about cities, states, and countries.